Have you ever felt like a zero? Like you are not good enough? Maybe you sit in class and your teacher asks a question, but you stay quiet. Your heart beats fast. You want to speak, but no words come out. You feel nervous. You feel shy. And you think, maybe I can't do it. I know this feeling. Many people know this feeling. But let me tell you something. Being a zero today does not mean you will stay a zero forever. Think about this. Every hero, every champion, every great person, they all started from zero. They all failed. They all made mistakes, but they did not stop. This story is about one person, a person who was shy, a person who was scared to speak. But step by step, this person changed from nothing to something, from silence to confidence, from zero to hero. Listen carefully, follow the story, and maybe you will see yourself inside this story too, because one day, this story can also be yours. Part 1. The Beginning. Zero. Alex was just an ordinary boy. He lived in a small town, went to a normal school, and had normal friends. But inside, Alex felt very different. He was shy, so shy that even saying hello to new people felt like climbing a mountain. English class was the hardest part of his school day. The teacher would write words on the board, ask questions, and wait for answers. Alex would look down at his desk, trying to disappear. His palms would sweat. His heart would beat fast. Every time the teacher said, "Alex, can you answer?" he froze. He wanted to speak, but the words got stuck in his throat. His mouth would open, but no sound came out. His classmates turned their heads to look at him. Some of them smiled kindly, but others giggled. That giggle felt like a knife in his heart. Once he tried to say a simple sentence, "I am happy," but instead his words came out broken. "I am happy." The class laughed. Not everyone, but just enough for Alex to feel small. So small he wanted to hide under his chair. That night, when he got home, he threw his school bag on the bed and whispered to himself, "Maybe I'm just not smart enough." Alex felt like a zero. Not because he had no dreams. He had many. He wanted to travel, to meet people from other countries, to get a good job one day. But when he thought about English, all those dreams felt impossible. At lunch break, he often sat alone. His friends talked and laughed, but he stayed quiet. He didn't want to say the wrong word. He didn't want to be laughed at again. Silence felt safer, but silence also made him lonely. Sometimes he looked at other students who spoke English confidently. They raised their hands, answered questions, and even joked with the teacher. Their voices were strong. Their faces were bright. And Alex thought, why can't I be like them? Why am I always the quiet one? At home, his parents asked, "How was school today?" Alex smiled a little and said, "It was fine." But inside, he wanted to cry. He wanted to tell them, "I feel invisible. I feel like nothing." But he stayed silent, just like in class. Every day it was the same story. He went to school. He sat in English class. He hoped the teacher would not call his name. He kept his eyes on his notebook, pretending to write, pretending to look busy. Deep down, Alex wanted to change. He wanted to be brave, but fear was stronger. Fear of mistakes, fear of laughter, fear of being the zero in the room. One evening, as he walked home, he saw a little child trying to ride a bicycle. The child fell once, twice, 3 times, but the child laughed, stood up, and tried again. Watching this, Alex thought, why can't I be like that? Why do I give up so fast? But still, he didn't know how. This was Alex's beginning. A shy boy, a quiet boy, a boy who could not speak English, a boy who felt nervous in class, a boy who sometimes became the joke. At this stage of his life, Alex was not a hero. Not yet. He was just a zero, waiting for change. Part 2. The Struggle. The day everything started to change was not a special day. The sky was not brighter. The world was not different. But inside Alex's heart, something was different. That morning, he looked at himself in the mirror. His face was tired. His eyes looked sad. And he whispered, I don't want to feel like this anymore. I want to change. It was a small sentence, but it was powerful. From that day, Alex promised himself, I will practice every day. Even if I am scared, even if I make mistakes, I will not stop. The first thing he did was simple. He started listening to English songs. He chose slow songs, songs with clear words. At first, he only caught 1 or 2 words, sometimes love, sometimes happy. The rest sounded like noise, but he kept listening. Every night, with headphones on, he listened. Slowly, the noise became words. Then he tried movies. He watched with subtitles. At first, his eyes moved too fast, looking at the screen, then the subtitles, then back to the screen. He felt lost, but little by little, he understood small phrases. How are you? I'm fine. See you later. These small phrases gave him hope. One day, he recorded his voice on his phone. He said, My name is Alex. He listened. His voice sounded strange, almost funny. He laughed at himself, but also felt embarrassed. Still, he did it again and again. Each time, his voice grew a little stronger. But let's be honest, it was not easy. Some days he felt tired. Some days he thought, this is too hard. I will never be good at English. His hands shook. His eyes filled with tears. But then he remembered his dream. He remembered the times he wanted to travel. He remembered the people he wanted to meet, the friends he wanted to make. He remembered the child on the bicycle, the one who fell but stood up again. And he whispered to himself, Don't stop now. Keep going. The struggle continued. Every morning before school, Alex read 3 new words. On the bus, he repeated them softly. Tree, book, smile. At lunch, instead of sitting in silence, he practiced in his mind. He imagined speaking to someone in English. He made mistakes, many mistakes. Sometimes he said the wrong word, sometimes he forgot everything he had learned. But each mistake was like a small teacher. Each mistake showed him what to fix. Slowly, very slowly, things began to change. His ears became sharper. His memory grew stronger. His voice became braver. The journey was not easy. It was full of doubt, full of fear, full of small failures. But Alex kept walking, step by step, word by word, day by day. This was Alex's struggle, and this struggle was shaping him, not into a hero yet, but into someone stronger than before. Part 3. The Small Wins. A month passed. Alex didn't become perfect. He didn't become fluent. But something small happened, something that changed everything. One day in class, the teacher asked each student to introduce themselves in English. Alex's heart started beating fast, just like before. His hands felt cold. But this time, he remembered his practice. He took a deep breath, stood up slowly, and said, "My name is Alex." The room went quiet. The words weren't perfect. His voice shook a little. But he did it. He spoke a full sentence in front of everyone. The teacher smiled warmly. "Good job, Alex," she said. His classmates clapped. In that moment, Alex felt something new. He didn't feel like a zero anymore. He felt strong, even if it was only for a few seconds. That small moment gave him hope. From then on, Alex noticed more small wins. At home, he read a short English story. For the first time, he understood the main idea. He smiled to himself and thought, "I'm learning." At a cafe, he tried speaking to the waiter. His hands shook, but he said, "1 coffee, please." The waiter understood and brought him coffee. It was such a simple thing, but for Alex, it felt like climbing a mountain and reaching the top. Each week, he added more words to his notebook. Simple words like water, bread, happy, friend. Every night before sleeping, he whispered them to himself. Sometimes he forgot. Sometimes he mixed them up. But when he remembered them in the right moment, it felt like victory. One afternoon, while walking home, Alex saw a tourist asking for directions. The tourist looked lost. Normally, Alex would have walked away, but this time he stopped. In a quiet voice, he said, "Bus station. That way." He pointed his hand. The tourist smiled and said, "Thank you." Alex couldn't believe it. He had helped someone in English. He walked home with a big smile on his face. It was a small sentence, but it gave him big confidence. Day by day, these little victories added up. They were like small bricks building a strong wall. Each brick made Alex feel taller, stronger, more ready for the next challenge. Of course, not every day was easy. Some days Alex still made mistakes. Sometimes people didn't understand him. Sometimes he forgot simple words when he needed them most. But now something had changed inside him. Instead of feeling like a failure, he said, "It's okay. I'll try again tomorrow." Alex started to realize something very important. Success is not one big step. Success is many small steps. He didn't need to speak perfect English right away. He just needed to keep moving forward, one word at a time, one sentence at a time, one day at a time. And little by little, those small wins began to shape a new Alex. An Alex who smiled more, who felt braver, who finally believed, "Yes, I can do this." This was no longer the Alex who sat in silence. This was Alex discovering his voice. And with every small win, he was getting closer to becoming a hero in his own story. Part 4. The Big Change. 1 year later, Alex was no longer the same boy. He still looked like Alex. Same hair, same smile, same quiet walk. But inside, something was different. His heart was stronger. His voice was louder. His fear was smaller. For 12 months, Alex had practiced. He had read stories, listened to songs, watched movies, and spoken little by little. Some days were easy, some days were hard, but he never stopped. And now, the results were clear. At school, the teacher gave an announcement. Next week, each student will give a short speech in English. The old Alex would have panicked. His hands would have started to sweat. His mind would have shouted, "No, I can't do this." He would have looked for an excuse to avoid it. But the new Alex only smiled nervously and thought, This is my chance. For the next few days, he prepared carefully. He chose simple words. He practiced in front of the mirror. I believe in myself. I can learn. I can grow. He recorded his voice and listened back, fixing the parts that sounded unclear. He asked his teacher for feedback. He even practiced in front of his parents, who clapped after every try. Finally, the day came. Alex stood at the front of the classroom. All eyes were on him. For a moment, he felt the old fear return, the shaky hands, the fast heartbeat. But then he took a deep breath, remembered all his practice, and began. My name is Alex, he said confidently. I want to tell you something important. I believe in myself. The class went silent. Everyone listened. His voice was not perfect, but it was strong. His sentences were simple, but they were clear. I was shy before. I was afraid to speak. But step by step, I learned. Every mistake was my teacher. Every small win gave me power. And now I am not afraid anymore. When he finished, there was silence for a second. Then the classroom filled with clapping. The teacher smiled proudly. Some students even stood up to cheer. Alex felt his chest grow warm. He was not the same boy who once hid in the back of the room. He had changed. From that day, Alex started making new friends, friends from other countries. There was Maria from Spain, June from Korea, and Ahmed from Egypt. They all wanted to practice English, too. At lunch, they sat together. They laughed at their mistakes. They taught each other new words. They encouraged one another. English was no longer a scary subject. It was now a bridge to connect with people from around the world. At home, Alex's parents noticed the change. You smile more these days, his mother said. You speak with confidence, his father added. Alex only nodded, but inside he felt proud. He had walked a long road, from silence to speech, from fear to courage. The big change was not only about English, it was about belief. Alex had learned the most important lesson. When you believe in yourself, anything is possible. He was no longer just a student. He was no longer just the quiet boy. Alex had become something new. He had become a leader in his own life. He had become a hero in his own story. Part 5. From Zero to Hero. Alex's story had started with fear. A boy too shy to speak. A boy who hid in the back of class. A boy who thought, I am nothing. I am a zero. But that was only the beginning. Now, 1 year later, Alex was standing taller. He was not perfect, but he was strong. He was not the loudest, but his voice was clear. He was not afraid to make mistakes, because he knew mistakes were part of learning. He had grown step by step, word by word, day by day. One evening, Alex sat on his bed and thought about his journey. He remembered the first time he froze in class. He remembered the laughter when he said "happy" instead of happy. He remembered walking home with tears in his eyes. But he also remembered the first time he said, "My name is Alex," with confidence. He remembered ordering his first coffee in English. He remembered helping a tourist find the bus station. And he remembered the moment his classmates clapped after his speech. From zero to hero. Alex realized something powerful. Heroes are not born. Heroes are made through hard work, through mistakes, through never giving up. And the best part? Anyone can be a hero. Alex was proof of that. He was once shy, nervous, and silent, but by practicing every day, by believing in himself, he had changed his life. Now he wanted to share his message with others. In his next speech, he said to his classmates, "I was once scared to speak, but I learned something important. Do not give up. Practice every day. Even if you feel small, you can grow. If I can do it, you can do it too." His classmates listened carefully. Some of them smiled, some nodded, and some even felt tears in their eyes because they saw themselves in Alex. They knew his struggle. They also wanted to change. Alex's story began to inspire others. Slowly, his friends started to practice more. They began to ask him, "How did you improve?" He told them the truth. Not magic, not talent, just practice, patience, and belief. This was the real victory. Not just speaking English, but helping others believe in themselves too. Alex had become more than a student. He had become a leader, a motivator, a symbol of hope. And deep inside, he smiled because he knew, "I am no longer a zero. I am a hero in my own story." But Alex also understood something else. His journey was not finished. Learning never ends. Growth never stops. Being a hero is not about reaching the top. It's about continuing to climb, step by step. That night, before sleeping, Alex wrote 3 simple sentences in his notebook. Do not give up. Practice every day. You can also be a hero. He closed his notebook and smiled. This was his message to the world. This was the lesson of his journey. And maybe, just maybe, this story can also be your story. Because if Alex can change, if Alex can grow, if Alex can go from zero to hero, then so can you.